and welcome back to my channel. Today I am excited to be hopping with the Not Too Shabby Shop design team. We are bringing you a combined hop this month, so there will be a hop on the 1st and then another inspiration hop on the 7th, providing you with inspiration using the box of the month as well as the stamp and die. This is the stamp and die. It's called An Elegant Christmas. As you can see, there are 3 sentiments. There's some ornaments, a Christmas gift, some embellishments, and then there's the beautiful girl in the gown as well as the formal dressed up window. I am going to stamp these images onto Copic Express It paper and die cut the window out using my coordinating die, which will cut the outside of the window. I'm going to do a pretty detailed card. I need to get this done in under 10 minutes, so I apologize. I am going to move through this rather quickly. I am going to cut those curtains out as I mentioned, and then we are going to move on and re-stamp this image a second time using acetate. When I stamp it onto the acetate, I do use StazOn ink because that will stick to the acetate. Unfortunately, when I stamped it the second time off camera, so I stamped it once, I cut out the second stamping, I ended up getting the image a little bit lower. So I could have re-stamped and just had a really clean piece of acetate, but after looking at it, it looked like either the curtains were reflecting in my window or the curtains were 2 layers deep, which I have seen before as well. So I decided to stick with my mistake and go ahead and use that piece of acetate. I do need to use a shim and run it through a couple of times when I'm using the die because acetate is pretty thick. There was an area that didn't cut all the way through, and I just used my scissors to snip that one little line. Otherwise, it was, it cut beautifully on the Copic Express It, but with acetate, you just need a little help. There are beautifully illustrated lines in this gown to show the folds, and I am going to do some really simple Copic coloring. I am only going to color this gown on camera, so I'm starting by going over each of the lines with a G29. I'll go under her arms and on the left and the right side. I'll bring up some of those folds from the bottom using that G29. I'll blend out with my midtone at the top, and then I'll go from the bottom using a G28, leaving plenty of white space. I go over it with a G24, which is going to be a lighter green. I'll do the same thing for the top. While I'm doing this coloring, I did want to talk about the giveaway. In order to qualify, you need to stop at each participant's channel in the hop. Make sure that you leave a message once you not a message, leave a comment, not a message. Sorry about that. Leave a comment and then head over to Rafflecopter. That link is in the description box below. You click on that, and that is where you'll enter. This does close on the 7th at 11:59 p.m. The winner will be announced over at the Not Too Shabby Shop channel. After that, there is, as I mentioned, a second hop, which will be on the 7th. Again, it will be a combined hop showing you both the box of the month and inspiration using the stamp and die. I am using some yellow markers. I think they're like a Y28 and 29, something like that, to color up the back side of my acetate window. And here was an idea that I had, and I thought that I would add my Imagine Crafts shimmer spray over the top of the skirt. And my thought behind it was that it would give it the look, you know how like some ball gowns have that beautiful gold overlay where it has the lacy gold that is over the top like a tulle? I thought that I would add that spray over the top. It was a little more intense because I was a little too close, but I went over it the entire skirt with the G24 again, and it blended it out much better. I think that I got the effect. It was something different to try. I like to try new things, and so I just went ahead and went with it. I die cut my images, and then I used that window die again to cut out a 3rd layer. This time I ink blended it with prized ribbon, and then I went around the edges with Distress ink in Black Soot. I went back over it with the Distress Oxide in prized ribbon. I added some water splatters. I added my Gonzai Tombi Starry watercolors in both white and that darker gold, and you can see that I have a really snowy star-studded background. I wanted to add some trees to the window, so I took out one of my Tim Holtz stamps, and I'm using that window or the curtains to make sure that I'm getting my trees inside that window. I'm going to stamp it 3 times using my VersaFine Black Onyx ink, and then I'll be able to layer those together. I'll have the curtains on the top, I'll have the acetate underneath, and then I will add the starry sky to the background. And I really think that, number one, the acetate looks like glass, so I'm getting, you're not going to be able to see it very well in the photos, but I am going to get a little bit of that glare like you would have with a true window. I like the way that this layered up, and I think that it really added a realism to the scene. This is a penny black floor stamp. If I can find it, I'm going to link the products that I used in addition to the not too shabby ones in the description box below, just because I think they lend themselves very well to this scene building. I'm adding some vintage photo to this floor, and then I'm going to add a little bit of ground espresso. As you can see, it is a wood floor, so it does have a lot of texture in it, and I just thought that it really helped build this beautiful Christmas. To me, it's like a Christmas Eve scene. This is from Tim Holtz Ideology. This is actually wallpaper samples that Tim Holtz found. He created them into a very thick pattern paper. I thought that this design was small enough for my A2 size card, but it also went well with the green in the Christmas tree and the green that was in the skirt, and I thought that it added a little bit of Victorian elegance to my scene. I'll add my floor, and you can see that off camera I did stamp out a Christmas tree. This is a layering stamp set from the Greetery. I thought that it just needed that Christmas feel. You certainly are going to see a lot of cards using this stamp set without a Christmas theme to it. So this stamp set is actually going to be something that you can have in your stash and use throughout the year. So I'm going to start gluing all of my pieces down. I'll glue my window first, and then I'm going to add my Christmas tree. I'll place my girl in front. I want to talk a little bit about the skirt on the girl. So I wanted that skirt to fold around, and you're going to see me work that skirt in just a minute. And in order to get that dimension, I added 2 layers of foam tape, not to the entire skirt, but just to the center. And that's going to allow me to get that, I don't know, it kind of gives it a movement, for lack of a better word. I think that the dimension that it adds was just perfect. I'm using the sentiment that says "Believe in the Magic." I did stamp it using my VersaFine ink. See, there's where I'm just folding that over very carefully, using my finger to kind of curl it. That's 2 layers of the foam tape on the back of it, and then I'm going to place that on my card. I'm just making sure I'm not going to be blocking the Christmas tree, making sure that I have enough space between my sentiment and the bottom of her skirt. Once I glue this gift down, that will complete my card for today. I'll show you a close-up showing you the dimension on this card. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to hop along using the hashtag, and make sure that you head over to Rafflecopter to enter. You can see right there a little bit of that reflection in that window. I think this is a beautiful stamp set, and I hope you love it as much as I do. Thanks so much for joining me, and until next time, have a fabulous day.